Welcome to Swipe. Here's what's coming up for you this week.
Thomas visits the new home of battlefield technology, and its location might surprise you. I meet a man who used to be homeless until a new website changed his life. And Tamoor's got the video games you should be trying out this weekend.
That's all to come after a look at some of our favourite tech stories of the week.
Science lovers look back on the life of world-famous British physicist Stephen Hawking, who died on Wednesday. He was 76 and had motor neurone disease. In his early 20s, doctors said he'd only live for a few more years. He went on to become a father of 3 and best-selling author, helping us to better understand the universe. Cyclists are being warned to be careful about the data they share on ride-tracking apps, as it could be helping bike thieves. Police say mapping programs might be used to target high-end bikes, given that you can see where the riders begin and finish their cycle. Apple keyboards could soon become crumb-proof. The tech giants filed a patent for keyboard designs that would stop dirt and bits of food getting stuck under the buttons. There's also a proposal for a spill-proof version. And happy birthday to the World Wide Web. This week marked 29 years since Sir Tim Berners-Lee wrote his proposal for a new information system. His supervisor at the time called the idea vague but exciting.
Next up this week, we join Thomas, who travelled to Staines in Middlesex, which has become the unlikely home of a cutting-edge future battlefield technology.
We were developing wearable technology before anyone even had coined the phrase wearable technology.
It's taken us quite a while, but we're finally there. Are we like Ant and Dec? Are we all right this way around?
Success for Stan and Asher may have been a long time coming, but success it is. Thanks to a chance encounter with the Canadian military at an exhibition, their product is now making it into armed forces the world over.
The problem is that soldiers have a lot of cables on them because they have so much electrical equipment that they're wearing now, and soldiers hate cables because they tangle, because they're always the first thing to break, because they get snagged on the inside of vehicles, that kind of stuff. So they saw that there was a real need for a solution like the conductive textiles.
The conductive fabric the duo have developed allows electronics to be built directly into clothing, creating an invisible network that integrates devices, power and data. The partnership may have once seemed an unlikely one.
So I'm a weaver and knitter. I went to Central St Martin's, Lovey, to do fashion and textiles. But I was always really very interested in the construction of textiles.
So I'm a design engineer, so a jack-of-all-trades engineer. Bits of science and technology, bits of design and technology. So I suppose design was the common language that Asher and I had that let us communicate and let us start working together.
So we came up with the idea originally of creating this tiny little switch into the surface of the fabric. So we wove with 2 conductive yarns that formed a tiny little mechanical switch into the surface of the fabric, and that's how we've created everything else.
So it's a UK developed technology by us. It's a large multinational that's British based. The weaving is done in this country, the finishing and cutting and the making of the garments is all done domestically within the UK. So we think it's a real UK industry success story. I mean, let's face it, the problems come about because soldiers are carrying lots of electronic equipment now, and it's a pain to keep it all charged or change batteries for it all, and that's exactly the problem that all of us now are facing out on the streets, that we're carrying so many phones and backup battery chargers and headphones and all of these things that somehow need to be networked together, and wouldn't it be sensible to do that through the clothes that you're wearing?
So what's next for Intelligent Textiles Limited? What's the future?
Oh, we've got so many exciting things that we probably can't talk about, but we love challenging the boundaries, so still carrying on challenging the boundaries. There's still a lot of work to be done with the products we're doing for soldier systems. What really matters to us is getting it to the soldiers so that they can do their jobs better, so they can concentrate, and so hopefully we can save lives through using this technology. And it's nice. We work in our shed, so it's pretty cool.
Thomas Newton, Sky News.
Now, at the end of last year, a website launched that lets you sponsor a homeless person so that they can get training and then find a job. With more than 300,000 homeless people in the UK, I was wondering just how successful the new platform was proving to be.
Yeah, just got my first place in August.
This time last year, Joe was living in temporary accommodation without work. Now he's got a job as a crane rigger, helping extend one of London's tube lines.
This crane right there, I'm working with that crane.
His training was paid for by strangers who sponsored him through a platform called Beam.
Did you see yourself on here?
I did, I looked at myself and I was checking.
Oh, look,
there I am.
Joe was referred to the site by one of his key workers, and within 5 days, volunteers had pledged enough money to cover his job training.
That felt amazing. I thought with this new thing, because I was their second member ever, so I thought this is going to take for months or whatever. And it come around in 5 days. I was fully funded and ready to go into training.
And look, these are all the messages from people leaving you money and wishing you luck.
Each one, yeah. So you see this and you see people doing things for you and you just think it's amazing. So, you know, it does give you that extra bit of hope that you need.
Do you ever want to meet them and say
I would love to meet every single one of them. I would love to meet them all.
The crowdfunding site was set up by Alex, an entrepreneur who told me that helping homeless members pay for their training means they can earn a better salary in a skilled job rather than starting at the bottom.
So here we have Hannah, who is training up as a beautician, and Leo, training up as a teaching assistant.
There are more than 20 members on the site, and since launching around 6 months ago, Beam has helped 3 people get back into work.
It's quite a slow burner, wouldn't you say?
Well, if you're going to make the proper investment into people to allow them to earn a good living, to really move beyond homelessness, then there's not a quick fix. It's not a one afternoon course or 1 week course. And what we're doing here is we're allowing the public to make a really smart investment in someone's future. And that might mean that they're training for 3 or 4 months.
Users can choose to donate to one person or to everyone on the site, and in return, sponsors get updates and photos about a member's progress. Beam is only available in London, but the plan is to expand, so long as it continues to get enough backing, with the goal of creating many more success stories like Joe's.
I have been so lucky, it's unbelievable. Next for me is going into driving the cranes would be a step up for me, and just finding myself in life, taking my daughter on a holiday and just getting my life back together.
We've reached that part of the show where we like to ask you to forget all about reality and get your gaming radar in check. We've got a mix of mobile, PC and console offerings for you. Here's Tamoor.
Into the Breach is a PC game that fans of the strategy genre are absolutely gonna love. You take control of 3 mechs and are charged with taking out alien invaders. That sounds simple, but it actually requires a lot of forethought and strategy. All of the buildings contribute towards an overall energy grid, and every time a building takes damage, you lose 1 unit of energy from that grid. If it all goes away, the enemies overrun the entire world and it's game over. Over time, you will lose. That's what this game is about. But when you do lose, you're able to take one character and respawn the entire timeline with them. This means that you've got the knowledge of how to behave and how to use that character, and hopefully you can do better on the second time through. So Into the Breach is an easy, simple game that you'll be playing for a very extended period of time. Axion Verge has actually been out on a number of platforms for a while now, but it only recently got released for the Nintendo Switch, which is good because it's actually the perfect way to play that game. Axion Verge is inspired by a Nintendo classic called Metroid, and it wears that inspiration very proudly. It's a game where you wake up in a strange alien world, and like Metroid, it's all about losing yourself in that world. You explore, and over time you uncover new tools and weapons, and that opens new doors for you. As you make your way around the world, you build this kind of mental map of everything. And over time, you'll defeat different bosses and enemies and eventually come to master the overall world. Axion Verge is very much inspired by H.R. Geiger's work, so if you're a fan of aliens, you'll love the aesthetic. Part-Time UFO is developed by HAL Laboratories, a studio known for working with Nintendo on Smash Bros. And Kirby. They're known for taking simple, quirky ideas and making them endlessly replayable, and that's exactly what Part-Time UFO does. Essentially, it's a crane game where you play as a UFO, but instead of using a crane to pick up prizes, you're actually using it to do odd jobs and earn pocket money. Over time, you'll stack cheerleaders on top of each other so they're in the proper formation. You'll go to a museum and help put back an art installation into the correct order. And you'll even make a salad. Part-time UFO is incredibly enjoyable. It's really cheap, it's available on the iPhone, and it's good, wholesome fun.
That's it. Join us again for more Swipe next week. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter @SkyNewsSwipe. Bye-bye.